TV's on.
You think you're a fireman? You're not really a fireman. You're a little bear, didn't you? Taking
Farming on the side.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority, February 20th, 2020, 6:15. Roll call, please.
Collard.
Here.
Excuse me, Pond. Dilbeck.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
White.
Here.
Morrell.
Here.
Wines.
Here.
Schroeder.
Here. Thank you very much. I do declare a quorum. Pastor Brett Nation is going to pray for us this evening. Sir?
Let's pray. Father, we love you and we thank you for how good you've been to us, and we thank you for blessing our city and continuing to do so. And Lord, we ask that this meeting tonight would be one of unity and being able to make right decisions that are going to honor and glorify you. And we thank you, Father, that you're going to continue to give us new ideas and things that we can do to progress our community and everything that we get to do in this town. And Lord, we honor you and we give you thanks for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, sir. Item 1 is the consent agenda. One item, receive and approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Collard.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes, thank you. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the PMA. Seeing none, we'll move to item 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Seeing none, we will move to item 6, approval of the ground space hangar leases at the Perry Municipal Airport. Pardon me. This is a situation that we have to do every 5 years, renew their hangar leases. These guys have both been long-term leasees at the airport, so we just need a motion to reapprove their lease that they already have.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Collard.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes, thank you. Item
That's
6.
what we did. We need separate motions on each
Oh,
one of those.
okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you told me that too, and I forgot. Who made the motion?
Mike.
Mike, would you make that motion for item A? For Dwayne Dixon?
Yes,
Okay.
for item A and B, Dwayne Dixon.
No, we have to have separate.
Oh,
motions,
okay, I'm sorry.
No, that was
For
my fault.
Dwayne Dixon on number 7 South.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Roll call.
Collard.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes. Now, on item B.
Motion to approve Matthew Mitchell, number 3 North.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Collard.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes. Item number 7, approval of a lease purchase agreement with the city of Perry to purchase the vehicle and the equipment for the MOU with the Ponca Enterprise Gaming LLC. I'm gonna turn this over to Russ, and he's gonna explain the situation.
So you all have in your packet, or actually handout, in your packet was one, went through a couple of iterations this afternoon, let's just put it that way, and tried to come up with the best way and the best thing to do. You know, we've already considered this lease, considered all of the pieces that go into it. We had a small issue, and we'll actually address that in the next item of which vehicle to purchase. But we need to get the funding placed in order. We need to put this in place in order to do the next item. So I kind of need to adjust both of these together. Bottom line, the original quote on the Expedition was like $32,000. It was for a 2-wheel drive. They want a 4-wheel drive in the situation. So we had to go back to the drawing board, trying to figure out how we were going to finance that and keep that inside the numbers that we originally had promised them. You know, whenever we set out the first round of the agreements a month ago and did everything, we worked it out. Bottom line, the best way I think to do this right now would be for the PMA out of the electric capital improvement funds to go ahead and finance this $100,000. We'll go ahead and pay the money, the interest to the city or to the PMA instead of paying it to the bank. So that lets us keep the money. Long run, it makes us, the interest over this 48 months is about $6,000. Whereas at the bank right now, we draw about $2,100. So I don't think we have any commitment of those funds out of the electric capital improvement coming up, especially with everything going on with the Malzahn Trust and those kind of things. All of our capital projects probably that we would fund out of it are gonna be taken care of. So I think this will give us the best way to keep their payment. And matter of fact, the payment that we originally discussed with them was about $2,182. This will drop the payment down to $2,166. So it saves the tribe about $20 a month in the payment. So I think it's an all-around win for everybody. But this is the agreement after we finally got all the numbers hammered out and where they need to be.
So we just need, pardon me, we need a motion on the lease agreement.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Goldar.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Strutter.
Yes, thank you. Item 8, authorized purchase of vehicle and equipment from the referred vendors. If you look at right there, under item 8, under what I read, there's 3 different vehicles listed there. John Vance is $38,841. The next one closest is Seth Wadley, it's $39,966. And then Knight Ford is $39,894. We have, you know, it's standard procedure of when we take bids to take the lowest bidder. And that's what John Vance is. I know that it's not John Vance Ford from Perry, but it's still John Vance from Perry. And they have multiple dealerships. It's up to us to decide which one of these we want to accept. I'm not bidding against Seth Wadley at all. I'm just saying, I think if we're being good stewards of our public monies, that's what we do. Now then, we can do all the service and everything with Ford here. I mean, there's no reason why we can't do that. But it's basically a difference of $1,125. So, you know, the council needs to decide which way we need to sway on that.
I assume this will be a pretty high mileage vehicle. And wouldn't the lifetime oil changes
Yeah.
make that cheaper to go actually with Seth Wadley?
Well, I wouldn't think it would be a high mileage vehicle. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean-
Where are they gonna go more than around town? But I'm not saying you're not right. I'm saying,
I'm just thinking we would definitely cover the $1,200 in
yeah.
just a couple, just a few years.
Well, it's up to the council to, I was just pointing out that they were the lowest, John Vance is the lowest.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the whole package,
Yeah,
because that's part of the package with Seth Wadley, and to me that has value. And I believe that's worth more than $1,200 probably.
What would be the lifetime of the vehicle?
4 years.
We're only gonna have the vehicle for 4 years?
Yeah, at the end of 4 years, we sell it back to,
They-
we sell it back to them. So we don't,
For sure, they want it back after 4 years.
they,
For $1 or whatever that was.
They would like that option. No entity knows exactly where we're gonna be in 4 years, what the casino's gonna look like in 4 years, what the relationship's gonna look like in 4 years. So they've kind of asked that that be open-ended.
I don't know exactly what oil change is gonna cost on this. But Derek is right. If they drive a lot, the oil change is gonna be worth that. But if we have it for 4 years and you change it twice a year, that's not that great
Yeah, no, it's not.
that's not that great a savings.
Mayor, we currently get our oil changes from Wadley and our Chargers, and they charge us $30. That's for our police cars, so.
You get a
Did you guys
special
buy
price?
cars from them?
No, we bought them
No,
from Vans.
Okay.
That was for Wadley ever.
I don't, especially on a bid situation, I don't think the dealership makes anything. I think he'd rather have the service. That's where he's gonna make the money, is on the service, But you guys have to tell us what to do.
And this is the John Vance that's in Guthrie, not the one here?
It's the Ford dealership is in
The Ford
Guthrie,
is in Guthrie.
but they do have, I'm just saying there is a John Vance here
Right,
also.
that we
I mean,
could
it's the
get
same
it
company.
serviced at.
Huh?
We could get it serviced here, not Guthrie.
No.
We
No.
have to get it serviced
We
in
have to go to
Guthrie.
Guthrie.
No, you can get service anywhere you want.
From John Vance, if we're gonna buy from John Vance and have it serviced by John Vance, that goes to Guthrie.
But we don't have to.
We don't have to get a service at John Vance.
Correct.
We could take it to Seth Wally and get a service.
Or the one here.
Well, I'm sure if they're just changing oil, they could change oil out here.
They wouldn't be able to do warranty work here because
Warranty,
it's just
yeah, I was gonna say.
GM vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't.
We have to take all of our police cars now to Guthrie to do anything. If they don't have Dodge mechanics out there.
So you take 2 officers down there, and then to go get it, you have to take 2 more down there.
Yes.
But
So
Seth
any
Wally
war-
would service it.
Yeah, I mean,
Right here.
it's a
Yes.
Ford,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a Ford vehicle, so,
but warranty work would have to go to Guthrie.
no, they could do
No,
warranty.
any dealer that's
Any
at
Ford
Ford.
dealership would do
Ford
that.
dealer can do the work.
You just couldn't take it to the Chevy one
I got
here.
you, I understand.
Is all. But I think in a bid situation, especially since you can do service work here, and like you said, I think you have to take the lowest, or should. Unless there's a
Especially
good
if it's only
reason.
good in 4 years.
If it's the same vehicle, you know, I mean, and that's what, they both meet the bid specs. So just, whatever you guys feel like, just make the motion and we'll roll on.
Do we do the next one too? Is there anything with the next part?
I don't think that those are bid situations.
They're sole source.
The rest of those are all
Yeah.
sole source. They're unique pieces that could only
I
be
got you,
bought
I
from one
didn't.
piece.
So basically, we just need to figure out which vehicle to go in, and then all this other stuff will go in whatever vehicle we pick.
So the expedition that we are getting is a 4x4 instead of,
The first one we bid was a two-wheel drive.
and who's requesting the 4x4?
I don't know if it's the fire department or the Indians.
Chief is, yeah. Because part of this will go,
Good point, that was a generic answer too.
Yeah, the fire department, the fire department really wants all their vehicles to be four-wheel drive, because they get out some
In the
situations in the mud, and
County
different
roads,
things.
yeah.
right.
I
And
When it was-
That's part of this vehicle's responsibility will be to
two
go
for
out
two.
at, grass fires and stuff
Okay,
like that,
yeah.
and be available.
Yeah.
Make a motion, we accept the bid with John Vance as the lowest bid.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Colder.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Hager.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Wise. Yes. Stroller.
Yes. Item 9, any new business that needs to come before the PMA this evening? Seeing none, item 10, motion on adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Colder.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Hager.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
White. Yes. Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, February 20th, 2020 at 6:29. Roll call, please.
Colder.
Here.
Bond. Gilbert.
Here.
Hager.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
White.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Wise. Here. Stroller.
Here. I do declare a quorum. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. There is a whole list. If there's something y'all want to talk about, we sure may.
Russ, are you okay with item M there?
Yes.
I saw your name here, I just,
Yeah,
I don't want that to slip in.
no,
Okay.
yes, that was
Okay.
railroaded, but yes.
Railroad.
He missed a meeting, that's all I can say.
Well, with that, I'll make a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda,
Show up one time,
A
that's what
through
happens to
M.
you.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Colder.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Hager. Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Wise. Yes. Stroller.
Yes.
Thank you,
I-
Russ. Thank you, Russ.
You were recommended by a family member.
Oh, great. And you took her advice?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the city agenda. Seeing none. Item 5, proclamations, accommodations, reports, and inquiries by or to the governing body. Seeing none, we will move to item 6, the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. This afternoon, we had the opportunity to meet with the, this year's class of Leadership in Noble County to present them with the riveting information of what the city staff does in city. They were spellbound, definitely. Russ was there, Mayor was there, Dixie was there, Tyson was there,
Autumn.
Autumn was there as well. Just to tell them exactly what we did and talk about different aspects of daily operations. They ask very good questions. And it's always, Dixie is an alumni of Leadership in Noble County Class 1, and I'm an alumni of Leadership County Class 15. And it's always nice to have these folks come in and
You're in that, weren't you?
be interested. Are you, what class were you?
We were 13.
13?
I was a 10.
Gloria was one?
I was 11.
Really?
Hey, that's something else I nominated you for.
Railroad, huh?
Always. Seeing a trend.
Well, if I remember correctly, Derek said, I'm gonna nominate you. Like, I've been here like 3 months, I went, oh, God. And then I go out and I see all the ropes and the climbing, and I'm thinking, I'm not listening to you again.
We did help you out with the fan, and we gave you a pointer on the camp out, though, didn't we?
That's true, that's true, so take a fan. So I brought a couple of fans for everybody, but we had a good time, and it's always nice to have those folks come in. I know we get a good, I know I get a good feel good from just talking to those folks. Also today, Tyson made our first Facebook posting regarding Census 2020. It's so important. You'll see more on a regular basis. Pastor Brett Nation's going to be talking to the Lions Club and the Rotary Club, some other organizations, about how important it is to the city of Perry that we participate. Probably about the middle of March. Census information will be hitting your mailbox probably, and so we're just gonna, for the next month, we're gonna push it real hard. So that's all I've got, sir. Any questions?
I was gonna talk to you about this today, I forgot about it. In Ponca City, I spent a lot of time in Ponca, and every Ponca City vehicle has a sign on it that says Census 2020 be counted on the side of the vehicle. And I don't know what that would cost to get some decals made up for our vehicles,
Okay.
but
It's a good idea.
it really, you know, every time I see that, I'm thinking, wow, you know, because, I mean, the normal person on the street, we don't even think about the census, you know? And I bet I see 4 or 5 of them a day. And so,
Okay. We'll look into that, sir. Thank you.
what was it, $1,600 a person or something? No,
$1,640.
$40?
$16,400 over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That will help a lot.
Item 7, Chief Financial Officer.
How much time do I get?
You done run out of time.
I think in 2 minutes today. you
Don't make us
get
invite
15.
Meredith.
Wow, I can't even get started tonight and it's already. I'll make it quick then, because I don't really have anything to say to you guys. What do you think of that? No. Really good. Just-
Complaining today that you had to talk too much last time, okay?
I said, man, I'm gonna come to a council meeting, I get a good hour and a half of talk time, and then I get in the car for a little
Well,
bit.
you knew Bryce
know?
wasn't gonna be here.
Bryce wasn't here, and somebody needs to fill his shoes, do they not? I
No,
mean-
they don't.
Oh,
All right,
they don't?
let's-
Okay.
Let's go.
Derek's got someplace to be tonight, guys, and not listening to me is one of them. All right, highlights, just a couple of things, guys. Actually, overall, with the budget amendments we did last time, with all the changes, everything really is in line. Expenses really were not, there wasn't anything out of whack. that we hadn't already planned for in the budget or those kind of things for this month. I do want to hit a couple of pieces. I told you last month we were worried about looking at those sales tax numbers. Now, mind you, sales tax for December deposited in February, so it's not really included in these. I'm giving you some numbers that are off the piece. If we take total Christmas spending, which is effectively take November and December together this year versus November and December last year, add in the sales tax and the use tax, because use tax this year became very significant. If you look at your report, I mean, we're already at 101% of our projected use tax number. I mean, we're over 20% of our use tax came in just last month, in 1 month alone. So use tax is killing it. Bottom line, we're up about $10,000 for those 2 months, this Christmas versus last Christmas. So there you go. If you're not gonna shop local, at least ship local,
That's
right? Keep it
shop,
up and
ship
keep
it 2
doing your
days.
part. So that's, and we see that, we would not have seen it had the use tax not been 35,000. It was all made up, honestly, guys, in use tax difference. Sales tax is really, I mean, matter of fact, sales tax is down 1% year to date over last year. But use tax has balanced out our numbers. So keep that, I mean, whatever you're doing to spread the word out. We'd prefer you shop local so that we get the jobs and everything else. But if you're not gonna give us the jobs, at least ship it local. We are seeing that in the numbers. Other than that, guys, everything else in here, a hotel motel tax, just because I always make sure I hit that, was 15,000, again, about 3,000 under what we need it to be, month in and month out. We do have one hotel that we're working with. They're behind just a little bit, and so, but we are making an asserted effort to collect on that piece. As soon as we get that collected, it's not gonna be a significant amount, but it will help us a little bit. So, those are really the only highlights I have from the financial statements. You don't get an hour and a half of Russ this meeting. I know. Well, all right, on that, no.
Any questions? Seeing none, we will move to 8. Consider a review of the special meeting agenda for the City Council Strategic Planning Meeting, amend, delete, or add items as appropriate. If you look in, go to actually tab 9, and then turn back towards tab 8. It's the last 2 pages of tab 8. It's kind of buried back there. Larry?
The last time we had a planning session was in 2018. I felt it was important that the council hear from all of our department heads, so we started early in the morning with SWOT analysis, exactly that I'm suggesting that we do this time. Mainly for 2 reasons. One, I think it helps the council, especially since many of you are new to the council. And secondly, I think it helps the department heads, because sometimes they come in and say, help me with this, and we go down, I said, well, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, and all of a sudden, their attitude changes, and they realize that they do have a really efficient, good department. It's got some challenges, but every department we have has challenges. So I think it helps them from that perspective. It certainly helps the council. And many of the things that you will hear pretty much from every department, because we have similar issues, department to department. But if this is something you'd rather not see, then we can certainly change that. I just put it out there as a draft. I put it on the table for you guys to decide whether you want to go down this road or you wanted to see something else. It would be a long day, no doubt about that, but let me hear from you guys.
My only feedback about that, Larry, is I was at the one in 2018. I thought it was great they all came in. I just think they should be given some time frame perspectives to keep things on track, because I know the latter part of the day, we were really compressed to even look forward at all. I don't know what's appropriate, but you know, when you ask people to come in and speak, some will speak 30 minutes and some will speak 3. So maybe we could just say, you know, just a 10-minute summary from each one of you or something like that, I think would be helpful.
Okay.
To keep that agenda moving forward. I don't know what the exact appropriate time frame is, but.
If I remember right, I mean, and by, you know, you got 15 15 groups here, take 10 or 15 minutes apart or apiece, I mean, we're all the way till noon,
I know.
just doing
I
that.
know.
And,
Well, I think that's kind of what happened. I think
Yeah.
the ladder department started to feel compressed to just get
and
up.
I don't even think we got out by noon. I don't think we got done by noon.
No,
I think they kept talking too much, which I wanna hear from them.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think they kept going while we were eating even, if I remember right.
Yeah, but I would sure like to, I was thinking the same thing, is to make sure we're done by 11:30 or something. I mean, 2.5 hours or something. That way we could, eat lunch and continue on.
Okay?
Because, we have the Heritage at 4 o'clock. So we need to try to at least be out there by then.
Well, there's another session at the Heritage Center that starts from 5 and goes to 10 o'clock. So when we're if we can get out by 4, they're trying to get in at 4 and get set up for the training session.
The only thing I don't see as far as that first part was we had Chamber and Main Street last time. Are you planning on having them there as
I was
well?
not,
Okay.
but I can certainly do that if you'd like. Chamber would probably be the only one that we could probably get this late. Also, this doesn't have BMAC on there. BMAC's on, it should be.
Oh,
on.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right too.
And I've also asked them, don't get in the weeds. Let's fly at 30,000 feet.
Do you have a code enforcement on here talking?
It's in number 9, community development.
Okay, yeah.
Who's 13?
That's kind of me,
Oh,
Russ.
okay.
I think Chamber does need to be there.
Okay. And I'll see if we can get Main Street as well. That would probably be Angie Drake, though. I'm not too sure exactly what her travels are. But if you'd like to have Main Street, I'll certainly reach out to her as well.
I think even if they decline, I think we should at least invite them to
Yeah.
come talk to us before we.
Be happy to do that. I think that's a good suggestion.
I think most, on when you get to the second page there after dinner, most of those things is on that list. We can get to where we wanna go, while having discussions on that
All right,
stuff.
yeah.
I mean, imagine if each person could add an item or two to that list, that we wanna talk about, but I think that on those items there, we can surely get to where we wanna go.
Larry, could you send us an updated spreadsheet for that item 2 there
I can do that.
before Monday preferably?
Be happy to do that. It's probably 11 pages, and I will tell you, it's basically all the things that I see. Some are big, some are small, and it goes out 5 years.
Okay.
So you may, I know David Payne came and we discussed the timing of, and what was on each one, and some we added, and, some we made a little bit sooner rather than later, and so, I think it helps just for you to know my thoughts, exactly where I'm going. Like I say, some is big, some are small. Okay, I'll be happy to do that, sir.
Thank you.
And I appreciate y'all's interest too.
Anything else? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 9. Consider approval of resolution number 2020-01 for the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, accepting a transfer of federal non-primary entitlement funds from the Blackwell-Tonka Airport Trust Authority, with the City of Perry, Oklahoma agreeing to transfer an equal amount in the future, and to authorize the mayor and the city attorney to execute all necessary documents. Okay, this is, we've talked about, in our last meeting, I believe, that we were trying to get some monies to do some work at the airport. And Blackwell Airport has that money now, and they don't have it allocated for anything, so we're just gonna swap money. But we have to pass this resolution, and, Bryce will be bringing a contract to us. He's working on that right now. So, if we pass this resolution, he will, at the next meeting, have the contract all put together.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Colburn,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Wines. Yes. Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 10, consider approval of $5,119.60 to the Northern Oklahoma Development Authority as a CDBG administrative fee for grants management service for Phase 3 Master Sewer Project. This is, now that the Phase 3 is done, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dixie, we pay the administrative fees at the end. So now we're paying NODA.
Well, the administrative fees were broken up. There was in the original contract with NODA, it was so much percent, at so much percent completion and so on.
Okay.
And this is the last payment of it, but we have paid some.
Motion to approve and pay the invoice.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Colburn,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 11, consider approval and agreement with Degraffenried Roofing LLC for the tear off and replacement of the Weehart Nutrition Center roof and appropriate funds for this purpose. The Weehart building is down on the east side of the Stillwater Mill area, and the roof's gone bad. It's leaking all the time, nonstop. The bid is $17,000 and some change. The other bid, Dixie said was over 50,000? Over $50,000. We just got two bids, and the building's not worth $50,000. So, the Degraffenrieds have agreed to do it for $17,465.
That was my only question. I didn't know where the other bids were.
Yeah.
That was the only bid in the packet.
Russ, where's the funding gonna come from for that project?
Well, right now, it'll just have to come out of fund balance. You know, whenever we finish the prioritization of the Malzone money at the next meeting, hopefully you guys would maybe look to that as part of the funding source for that 17,000. But for now, tonight, to approve it, keep it going, we're just gonna have to pay it out of fund balance.
What are you gonna do, council?
Motion to approve.
I said, I don't think we really have a choice. Second. I said, I don't think we really have a choice.
No.
Any further discussion?
And Mike, if you would, I mean, your motion to approve the bid and add it to our funding request from the Malzone Trust
Okay,
for the next cycle.
okay.
That
And
way-
add to the request, Malzone family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That way it'll
second that
be,
too?
that way it'll be on the request next time.
Okay.
We'll prioritize it on, Larry will probably prioritize it on his list of requests.
My second.
Roll call, please.
Colburn,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 12, consider approval of the First Amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding, the Mutual Aid Service Agreement with the Ponca Enterprise Gaming LLC. This is the same thing we saw over in the PMA a while ago for the memorandum on the vehicle.
Motion to approve.
Totals are different, does that matter?
The individual totals are correct. The grand total of 101 is the number that's not correct. It should be 97,877. But those are the exact same numbers.
I didn't know if we had to say that.
No.
It's right on the agreement, Jane.
Yeah, I'll put it. Okay.
We updated that.
So do we have a motion?
Yes, I heard.
Oh, second.
Any further discussion? Thank you for bringing that up, Jane. Roll call, please.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Dillback.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Straw.
Yes. Item 13, approval of the lease purchase agreement with the Perry Municipal Authority to purchase the vehicle and the equipment for the MOU for the Ponca Enterprise Gaming LLC. This is just the city borrowing the money or leasing it from the PMA.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Dillback.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Straw.
Yes, thank you. Item 14, consider approval of the Perry Personnel Manual 2020. Okay, the way I understand this is that for many years, we have been making amendments to the personnel manual. And we've never, ever actually just gone in and made a new manual with all those changes in it. So all the changes that's in the personnel manual is stuff that we've passed already and approved. And so Bryce just went in there and cleaned up the whole manual and just, here's a new manual. So it's not like we're in there, we're not changing anything in the manual. So that's what this is.
You made me read it all first?
Hey, I asked before I did it. I'm like, you have to read all this, someone tell me what's in this.
And then we'll make the decision.
Went through all 67 pages.
No worries.
You earned your money this month, didn't you? How was the proofreading? I mean, you always come up with something on stuff that long.
Well, I'm sure there was
Which
a
page
few-
did you have a question on?
One question.
One question on page.
Yeah, sum it up in 3 words.
I motion to approve.
I motion to, that's 4 words.
Let's go.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Dillback.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Straw.
Yes, thank you. Item 15, discuss hiring an MKEC engineering to prepare a master drainage study for the city of Perry. Also discuss a drainage study for 2nd Street Tower and direct appropriation of monies for such studies. Larry?
There are some sections in town that have drainage issues. The one that we've heard the most from is the 2nd and Maple and Tower part of town. You have in your support documentation a quote from MKEC to do a study on that particular area. However, there are other areas in town that we have issues as well. So before you have 2 proposals. The second one to do the whole town is up on the high side, 20,000. So the question is, do you want to do just Tower and 2nd Street and Maple? Or do you want to make it comprehensive, similar to what we did years back in 2016 with the sewer master study?
I'd like to do it all.
Me too.
Okay?
So my only question, I'm trying to discern what they're gonna do. It seems like we're just gonna you have issues here, and not how to fix them. Did I perceive that correctly?
No, I think you will get some recommendations,
Okay.
and I'll get that clarified.
Okay, it made it sound like it was, I can't remember the exact wording.
Because especially, and I'm probably more familiar with the 2nd Maple and Tower, is that if we do one thing to a particular resident in that area, it affects everybody else. So, and that's not what we want to do. We want to, if we're gonna fix it, let's fix it right, so it doesn't affect everybody. David, do you have anything to say? add to this? I know you've been involved in this for a number of years here.
Yeah, I don't know how familiar anyone is with that area, but the water comes from the west going east down, I believe it's Tower, the street just to the north of Locust. And so it's headed east toward the railroad tracks and gets to the intersection and kind of splits. Part of it wants to go continue east. I think I'm saying the right streets, but the directions, the situation is correct. And some of it goes to the south, headed toward Locust.
Maple.
Yeah, Locust, going
Oh.
Yeah,
south
Locust,
toward Locust. And then it goes through a cut in the curb and goes down through the yards and around the houses and all this. So I've looked at it as well and talked to MKEC about it. I think we agree that in order to fix that, it's probably going to involve redoing the street in that intersection and channeling the water in the street either over to Locust into the ditch and then continue east, or channel it continuing east down the street it wants to go down anyway, but then you have to deal with it at the east end. If you do nothing down there, it's gonna run around some houses. So maybe some minor rediverting at the east end. So either way, it looks like it's gonna involve digging out some asphalt, changing the elevation of the street, and channeling the water probably in the street one way or the other, because now it just runs through the yards and around the houses, and it's not a good thing.
And the utility easement that goes between Tower and Maple is more narrow than what they are now, considerably more
Right,
narrow.
I think it's just 10 feet.
It is a problem, so, again, if we were to just to go and fix this one particular residence, that impacts the easement, and then it impacts other folks down that easement.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't look practical to me, and I think MKEC agrees. It doesn't look practical to try to make that easement a drainage channel, but keep it in the streets and let it go in the streets. But as it is now, it gets out of the street and into the yards. So looks like it's going to involve some rework in the streets.
One good thing that I know that we've done as a council is we've set ordinances that said, since I've been on the council, that says that if you're gonna build a subdivision and you ever want us to annex it into the city of Perry, you'll build it to our specs to start with. And that's the problem we have over there. And that's the problem we had in the Fairway Edition with the asphalt and the streets up there. These people go out there and just build subdivisions in the city of Perry. We just annexed it in and didn't think about it, you know, and then, 30 years down the road, we got a nightmare. So,
When this if I could just interject, when this subdivision was built that we're talking about down on Tower, we were in the process of writing the subdivision ordinance. It was interesting, the developer came to every meeting and sat right by the mayor to get influence or something. But anyway, they were trying to finish the subdivision while the guidelines were being written. And I don't know that the subdivision ordinance as adopted would have really changed much in the way that was done. But I will say that the drainage wasn't looked at all. It was assumed that people that designed it did a good job, and they almost did. But in these two areas of that subdivision, the water just doesn't have a place to go.
well, if you all remember right, I don't know how many years back, it's been maybe not that long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we said people could only park on one side of the street down there because the streets are so narrow, you couldn't get
Right.
emergency vehicles through there. So the neighborhood's kind of an all-around issue a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but what I was gonna say, there's a cost in here, I think it's $7,000 or so, to do a drainage analysis on the Maple additional loan. And we asked if there would be any credit applied to the whole drainage aspect for the whole city, and they said very little. So I don't see any point in trying to cut just that out. I think it's gonna cost us more money if we cut out just the Maple addition versus doing the whole town.
I think I would like to know exactly what's in the 20,000 though, because when you read through it, it does talk about how it will give you a starting point and it will show you some initial phase that would include some of the observation, some recommendations. But obviously talks through that it's just gonna be a high level and you're gonna have to go back and with extensive field and survey work, and that would be required in order to, the improvement recommendation and what would be required after the capacities are determined. So I guess I'm still not clear of what recommendations they would give us within the 20,000 versus how fast we would have to come back with a phase two to be
Yeah,
able to get.
it may be a
any real
situation
data.
where we need to ask Stephen to come down here from MKEC
Yeah.
and explain to us exactly what that survey means. I mean,
So I
what the
believe we need
analysis.
to do this, and I think it should be part of our, I mean,
mhm.
it's one thing that we need to go look at in general is our water drainage and things like that, but.
I've been getting some calls about the Coffee Drive area. That place is flooding pretty bad down there too.
I think there's several areas that we would wanna look at. I just don't want us to be disappointed and we spend 20 and we think we're gonna get something and then it didn't even give us enough and we're gonna have to turn around and spend whatever to get.
They give
the
you a
next
Google
phase.
app,
Don't wanna spend money to
a Google Maps picture and say, looky there.
Yeah. Yeah, they should here,
Congratulations.
here, and here. We already knew that.
Looks like you
Thank
got a
we
puddle
already-
over there.
Exactly.
Looks like you
We
got an
drove
issue over
through
there.
and-
You can drive around on a rainy day and learn a whole lot.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. So,
Yeah.
I just think it'd be good to know exactly what you get in phase one and how quickly phase two would be needed and what is phase two.
Well, I will tell you guys that, Debbie Wallace has stopped coming to the council meetings. It's because she calls me about once a week and I say, no, you don't need to come to council this week. And so I'm just telling you that lady's not gonna stop.
No,
And
we
so-
need to do this, I just think we need to know.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying,
Plan for
I want you
20.
guys to know that she's not backed off. And I take every phone call she calls me, or if I'm working or something, I call her back. We have discussions and I get her point, I really do. And I don't think that it's 100% our fault, but I think some things have happened in the past that the city's kind of admitted fault. And so, we got to do something to help them.
I agree, I just don't know how
So
far
we
this
need to
20 will
find
get
it.
us.
I don't know, can we get a hold of Stephen and see if he can come talk to us?
Sure. We meet next on the 2nd of March. Okay, don't want to table this
Yes.
till you hear from him?
Motion to table.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Calderon,
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Iker.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wall,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 16, approval of certain equipment and supplies for the electric department from Wesco Distributor in the total amount of $19,048.49. Larry, is this just some supplies that the electric department's
Yes, sir.
asking us to pay?
For a variety of projects.
Mhm.
The first one, which is $3,400, is for the airport. Most everything else is from the electrical department.
And what lights did we have to put up at the airport?
They had some lights that were coming on and going off, and this new device fixed it. That's not a very good explanation, I apologize for that. It said,
Is that paid out of the
Wait.
airport fund, Russ?
Yes, the airport part comes on the airport
right,
budget.
yeah, it had been coded in another department and changed it to airport. It's their responsibility.
And part of the reason these items are coming in, and we can handle these a couple of ways. You know, our municipalities handle these items differently depending on who they are. Whenever the purchase amount exceeds the authority of the city manager. You know, we either, we put these on as action items like this, or we can put those up in a consent agenda item and list them up there. You know, if you guys want to talk about these, we can always list them down here. I told the mayor that might be something that we talk about at the planning session too, you know, and just delve in. So that the majority of these things are things that had to be done anyhow, but the Westco total bill, whenever it gets to that level, you know, like, we can't say, oh, well, Larry just authorized this check. It's above what his authorization is. So we have to come back to you all for that. We don't have to actually make these action items like this. They can be part of the consent agenda item if that's where you all want them in the future. I'll throw that out there. But I know the last 2 or 3 months, we've had a handful of these kind of things that we've had to put down here. We can simplify that, is what I'm saying. But that's your all's purview, you know.
I personally right now think that with how tight things are, we should probably see them and handle them.
I have no problem with that. I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit on the fact that all these invoices, most of them, have different dates. So it's not like it's over a spending limit.
But
I mean, you could pay the individual.
But whenever we start breaking and it started, the issue started back whenever we had transformers and we were buying.
Yeah, I know about that.
And that was where the issue really kind of came to a head, and we were just trying to keep everybody informed. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want you guys picking up a check register at the end of the month and going, whoa, we did, you know, that's a $50,000 check coming out, you know, who in the world authorized, you know, that's what I was trying to prevent in that piece, was that you guys, as Derek's, full transparency of what's going on.
Could it be that we separated between individual project and the aggregate? In other words, when you're talking about the $50,000, that was for a particular project, and when you add everything up in the aggregate, it was well over $15,000.
Right.
So do you want to split that up and say, well, this particular invoice is for electric, this particular invoice is for the library, this particular invoice is for how would you like to see
Yeah,
that from an
the
accounting
problem, I guess the problem really came, so, at a lot of our other, again, everybody does it differently. I'm just trying to give you a couple of options of how people do it. Some places, every check that's over the $15,000 number, you know, gets read every council meeting as part of the consent agenda, and you can, you know, if you have a question as we're reading down, this check was to this vendor. Now, I think that's almost overkill. You guys are all adults, you can read and you're literate enough to look at that. But they do that up under consent agenda, which is not, they don't even run it like a true consent agenda, but it is in the consent agenda, except for they read off every total that is over the $15,000, giving you all then the opportunity to ask a question about it, okay? Some others just only put a listing of anything that's over the 15,000 in a consent agenda and approve it that way. We have others that are like this, and that's why we went this route, because this is by far the most conservative piece of it, and maybe brings out the most discussion on any of these items. But anytime that a vendor payment is going to exceed, and our number's 15,000 here, anytime it's going to exceed 15,000, that's what we bring out in these pieces, so that you guys, at the end of the month, whenever the auditors come and they look back at the check register and they go, it's kind of an internal control piece, but they turn around and they look at it at the end of the year and they go, these are all the checks that were written in excess of these dollar amounts, you know. These are all, if it's contractual services, if it's under a bid, those kind of things, they've already got those contracts. It's these items that are checks to vendors that don't have a set bid on them, that exceed a dollar amount, 15,000 here, you know, that we have to have some authorization and some look at. And that's all we're trying to do, is make sure that those pieces come. If you guys want them on these individual items like this, but it's the check totals that they're pulling. And that's the control piece that they're looking for, is did council approve, you know, that check total, because it exceeds what Larry can approve.
So basically, we're validating our own policy from an audit standpoint. I mean, that's what they would look at.
Yeah, we've set the policies and so that's why we can kind of amend this to where you all want it.
We probably have payment terms with them, and that's why it's, right?
Yes, yes.
Because,
We need checks to get out,
yeah,
and yes. And we have enough volume with them that if we need a return on, with Wesco, I mean, you know, you look at what we pay Wesco in a year, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, if we need a return on an item or something, there's enough transaction there that I'm not worried that we're gonna get hung out for $3,000 and never get it back from the vendor.
So is this like for a month's business, or how long is that? You know what I'm saying? That's my whole
Yeah.
point is, you don't have to let it build up to 19,000 before you pay the bill.
No, but in her payable cycle,
Mhm.
it can easily add up to 19,000.
Yeah.
Before she pays the bill.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is he could approve these individual invoices and not be in trouble.
but we don't pay them individually. Because we're on payment term, I'm sure it's like a net 30
You're
or
just
something like that.
writing one
As
check.
long as
I get that fact, but he has the authority to approve every one of these invoices.
Every one of those single invoices, yes.
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 You'd have to write
Until it
10
adds up
million
to a
checks.
project that came to Y.
You just have to write individual checks, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we could write a check every day. Please, I don't wanna do
That's what I'm
that.
saying, though, that's not cost effective either.
No, that's not where we wanna go. We're caught in a predicament here, trying to keep the auditors happy and trying to keep, you know, trying to do it efficiently. And it's got us in a little catch-22 here, that
But to
we
your
end up
point,
putting these items on.
we need to pay them because we owe them this based on things that we already purchased. And then
Yes.
at our planning meeting, we need to discuss how much time and how, and what's the right thing for our council to be able to allow Larry to do his job and us to know what's going on and paying our bills.
Right, for you all to feel comfortable. Just think on it, and we can address it on Monday afternoon.
I make a motion to pay Wesco $19,048.49.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Goldar.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Akron.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 17, consider approval of purchase of corrosion inhibitor from Thornton Muso Bellamy Incorporated in the amount of $9,639 for the Prairie Water Plant.
Motion to approve.
I didn't know this one on
Huh? That's what I'm saying,
This
it's not,
wasn't me.
it's not even close to the $15,000.
This one wasn't me, I
Can
don't
we
know.
talk to you?
No, I don't even know how it got put in.
I don't know where this one came from. It wasn't me.
Bryce, he's not here, so.
Blame it on
So
Bryce.
it's Bryce.
Okay, who made that?
Bryce
Second,
did it.
yeah, he meant second.
Call
I
him.
looked at it, I didn't
Call
know
him,
what it
see-
was about.
Call him, see
I
if you
was
can get on the
just-
phone.
I was like, hey.
Yeah, roll call, please.
Goldar.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Akron.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Kind of drives home the point.
Item 18, any new business that needs to come before the council this evening? Seeing none, item 19,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
roll call, please.
Just so you know, you got the black and white copy. I did.
Yes,
Akron.
Yes.
The mayor got the color copy.
of course he did.
I mean, just so you know, I'm just gonna say.
Marshall?
That wasn't me, that was him.
No,
No.
just
Yes.
call a roll.
Yes.
We got a minute to get out of here within an hour.
Yes.
If
Yes.
anyone,
Yes. Yes.
yes, if anyone wants to see the color copy,
Oh, the colored